What's up guys, Velocity here, and today I'm bringing you the second part of my office tour here in my room. Now I apologize for not getting the second part of the video up when I said I was. I went halfway into recording the video and decided it wasn't really how I wanted to format it, and by the time I was ready to re-record I had some scheduling conflicts, so I decided to just wait a few days and then put it together like I really wanted to. So I'm going to go through everything in my room and talk about its usefulness, whether or not I'd recommend it, and a possible budget alternative you could use instead of that piece of equipment if there's a better one available. Not all the things in this video are going to be budget related because I did get some things as gifts that I normally wouldn't spend that much money on. So I will give you budget options for those that can be alternatives to the more expensive pieces of equipment. But with that all being said, let's get right into the video. Now for the first two things I'm going to get out of the way are things that I don't really consider part of the setup. I'm not going to be talking about my PC because I talked about that in the last video. I feel like if this is talking about a setup, you should already have your PC and monitor. But in case any of you guys were wondering what monitor I use, it's the Acer HA220Q. I got it off Amazon for about $89. This thing is solid. I love the display. The thin bezels on the side make it feel like there's a lot more screen than there is. I believe it's 21.5 inches and it's got a great IPS display, so it's got good viewing angles. It's a really basic monitor, 4 millisecond response time, but it works great for everything that I need it for. I considered getting a dual monitor setup when I was spending all the money for this setup, but I decided, I'll be going to college soon and I probably won't have a lot of room for that kind of stuff, so I just decided to stick with the single monitor, but I'm very glad I picked this one because it has been excellent for me. The other part that I don't really consider part of the setup, but it is a little extra thing if you want to get it, is these LED lighting strips. I believe they're called Super Light or Super Night. I got them a long time ago. They were 30 bucks and I just had to tape them all around the room. I will leave everything that I'm going to talk about in this video down in the description below. This is going to be one of those things that will be there. Just be aware that if you get these, you're going to need to get command strips because the adhesive that's on the back of them does not work well at all. So if you do decide to pull the trigger and get these, I would recommend them because the lighting effects are cool. It's got a remote that controls all the lights, but make sure that you get something that will help it stick to the wall better or wherever you're going to put it because it does not stick on its own very well. But I got the whole roll for about $30 and it covers pretty much the entirety of my room, so I was really happy with it. Now on to the things that I actually consider part of my setup. The first thing would be my keyboard. Now I have a Razer Black Widow Ultimate 2014. I got this thing off eBay for $48.99 and this thing has been absolutely solid. I'll link the deal that I found in the description. The Razer green switches are nice. I like them. I like the lighting effects, which are okay. I'd much rather have the chroma, but like I said, it's all about a budget option, and at the time I really couldn't afford to get a chroma. I enjoy the clickiness of the Razer green switches. Sometimes it can get annoying, and I'm sure for a lot of other people it would get annoying. If I had to do it all over again, I might go back and look for the MX brown switches, but I'm not extremely unhappy with the Razer green switches. This is the first mechanical keyboard I've owned though, so I haven't experienced a lot of different keyboards, so I can't really say if this is the best in the market. However, if you can't afford the $48.99 keyboard, I will give you a bit of a cheaper option that will cover the keyboard and the mouse. The TechNet mouse and keyboard is really good. I owned that before I owned these, and they treated me really well. The membrane keyboard, so it's going to be a lot cheaper, but I believe it's like $22 for the keyboard and mouse combined, and both were really solid. Now, there are some pretty cheap mechanical keyboards you can get, but they're 10 keyless. I don't know if that bothers you guys, but it does bother me a little bit. But if you're not into mechanical keyboards or that's not a necessity for you, I definitely look at getting a cheap membrane keyboard that will last you a while. Now going along with this keyboard is the Hi-Rally F300 mouse. Let me just tell you guys, this is the best mouse that I've used. I've used the Razer mice, I've used the Logitech mice, I've used other types of mice, but this mouse to me is so comfortable. It is so good to use. It's perfectly weighted. I don't so much care about the lighting effects, but they're cool for how cheap it is. But just the sensitivity controls, the firmness of the scroll wheel, the firm build of the mouse itself makes it to where it is way, way better than a $16 mouse should be. I actually have a Razer Death Adder right here with me, but I decided to actually switch back to the Hi-Rally mouse after using it because it's just that much better. I like how comfortable it is. It's good for small or big hands. It's got a good curve to it. So it's basically the perfect mouse for me. It's got a nice DPI control. It's got firm buttons on the side that you can use to map for gaming or for anything that you're using. I would definitely recommend this mouse, especially for budget options. It's going to be one of the best you can find. If you're going to spend 10 bucks on a cheap mouse, I would go ahead and spend the $6 extra for this Hi-Rally mouse because it is definitely worth it and it'll last you forever. I've been using this mouse for over 2 years, never had an issue with it. I've never had any kind of issues with double clicking or any other issues that would cause me to doubt this thing. It's just been an absolute tank for me and I would definitely recommend it. As for the mouse pad that it's sitting on, it's just a basic SteelSeries mouse pad. If you want to pick one of those up, it's $7. I don't think you necessarily need it, but it's pretty good for the price. Right now, I'm speaking to you into the Blue Yeti, the silver edition. It's not the blackout edition, and it's it's the USB one. I know they come with an XLR version, but the XLR cables that I used for my previous microphone, which was a cheap piece of garbage, was worn out very quickly, and I ended up not being able to record a lot on it because I'd have to bend the XLR mic at a certain angle to be able to pick up my voice, which is the whole reason that I looked for a new microphone. I got the Blue Yeti for about $47, but that deal is gone now. It's on eBay. Now I think it's up to $59.99, which is still better than the $120 market price that they ask. But if you wanted to find a cheaper microphone, there are plenty of them on the market. The Neewer NW700 actually sounds pretty good for the cost. Like I said, I had an issue with the XLR cable, but I think that was the cable that I bought with it, not necessarily the microphone itself. Just keep in mind when you buy the Neewer NW700, if you are looking for a budget option, it's gonna run you about 20 bucks, but you're also gonna need a power supply box to go with it and a couple other things, which after you buy those, it'll jump up to about $35. And if that's the case, I'd go ahead and just be browsing for extra deals on the Blue Yeti. The Blue Yeti is far superior. It's got all kinds of different modes. It's got cardio directional patterns. It's got omnidirectional patterns. It's really good for recording different types of videos because you can set it to record what's right and directly in front of it and what's directly behind it. You can use all kinds of different modes that'll help you get the best audio quality possible. It's got a designated mute button. It's got direct audio monitoring, and it's also got a gain knob on the back for the best use possible. This microphone is a staple for the entire community. For the price, it's just excellent. It's useful, it's very good at what it does, and it's very dynamic. The only downsides I have to this mic are, number one, if you touch it anywhere on the mic or touch below the desk, it's going to make a very loud vibration noise. That was me tapping on the desk right below the Blue Yeti. It's still gonna pick it up. It just picks up all kinds of vibrations. So if you can afford a shock mount to get it on, if you're not necessarily looking towards a budget setup, then I would recommend that. The other downside is that sometimes you can't really narrow down the pattern of audio that it's picking up as much as you might want to. Like I said, I can't use it with my mechanical keyboard because it just picks up everything. No matter what I do, no matter what audio filters I put on it, it still picks up all the stuff in the background, and there's no way to really stop that. But other than that, it's a solid mic. I would definitely recommend it if you have the money. If not, go for the cheaper option of the Neewer NW700. My webcam, which I usually don't use too much, is the Logitech C270. It's $19.99, or I got it off eBay for 10 bucks. It's not great, but if you use it paired with a good microphone and you just use it for a small box over in your corner of like a gaming video, it's gonna be fine. I wouldn't use it as a full screen video because it's only 720p and it's not that great, but for a budget setup, if you wanna add that extra element of having some face cam over in the corner of a game, I definitely recommend it. It also doesn't take up that much file storage because it's 720p. If you use something like a DSLR camera, which I use for some of my recordings, it takes up a ton of storage just trying to get even like a 5 or 10 minute commentary, but this does not take up nearly as much storage. So I would recommend it if you want to use it beside a professional microphone and if you want to use it for small tasks like face cams, but I wouldn't recommend it if that's going to be your primary source of video. Now moving on, we have the Logitech Z523s. Now this speaker system is absolutely incredible. I love it. I would never recommend it for a budget gaming setup though. I got this as a graduation gift. It's $100. The speaker system is incredible. It's got a bass monitoring system. It's got a volume monitoring system. It's absolutely incredible, and I would have never bought it on my own because I just don't look for things that are that expensive normally for my setups. However, if you are looking for a budget option to replace this, I would go for the Logitech Z200s. Now these speakers are solid, absolutely solid. I used these before I had this speaker system. They're about $21.75 on Walmart. I think it's the cheapest deal I found. I'll link it down in the description below. They're really crisp and clean looking. They look nice in a design with a desk, and they also sound great. I have no problem with them. They have a good bass to treble ratio. It sounds very good. It sounds very nice and clear, and they can get pretty loud, which is always a nice thing. And for 20 bucks, you really can't beat it. As for my headphones, I got the Razer Kraken 7.1 surround sound. Now the audio sounds great. I love everything about them. The microphone sounds pretty good comparatively to other mics that are built into headsets. They're just not very good at all. The surround sound is fantastic. The bass is fantastic. You can use Razer Synapse to control all the different types of audio you want, whether you want more treble, want more bass, and it's really good for that. But it has come to a problem where it will pop and disconnect. I think there's something wrong with the wire cable. It'll pop and disconnect, and sometimes it'll reconnect, sometimes it won't. If you're playing a game, sometimes it'll disconnect. You won't be able to reconnect it. You have to go into your settings manually and change it. And when you do that, sometimes my computer will freeze. It's just an issue that I don't know how to fix. And I've uninstalled Synapse, I've reinstalled it, I've done everything I know how to do to try to fix this problem, and it still doesn't work. So as for now, I've just pretty much completely unplugged those. I'm using a basic pair of earphones that I got from Walmart just because I'd rather have less audio quality and not have to worry about reconnecting my earphones every 15 minutes than I would having really good earphones that I have to, worry about taking care of, and my computer possibly freezing when I'm trying to reconnect them. So as for me, I probably wouldn't recommend the Kraken 7.1s. They're really good, solid quality, but just the whole issue with the audio cable, it's not very good. And I've heard a lot of people who have the same issue, so I probably wouldn't recommend it. Also on my setup, I have a basic USB splitter, a TP-Link. It was 10 bucks. I'll throw that in there if you guys want to look at that. And everything I've talked about is sitting on a Linman Adil's desk. Now, I got double desks, but I would only think that you would need one. It's a pretty solid height. The height is adjustable, and it's a solid desk. Now, sometimes it's a little bit flimsy and it'll wobble a little bit, but I have mine set up against a wall, so that kind of limits the amount of shake that I get when I'm touching the table or when I'm moving around. However, when I ordered this online, it did come damaged. I was not a big fan of that, but because it would cost more to send it back than it would to just keep the table, I try to cover up the damage by just putting my mouse pad over it, my mouse. I mean, I don't like the fact that it was damaged, but it's something I guess I can live with. Anyway, the desks are $24.99. I would definitely recommend it. It's, I think, $6 in shipping, but it's pretty solid, and I like the desk overall. It looks clean, it looks nice. The black and white really matches well together and will go with pretty much any kind of accessories that you want to buy as far as color schemes. So I really appreciate you guys checking out the video. Everything that I have said is linked down in the description below, and everything that I talked about that were budget options as opposed to what I have now are also going to be linked in a separate segment down in the comment section below, so you can go check those out. If you enjoy this gaming budget setup, make sure to let me know down in the comment section below. Let me know if you guys have anything that is fairly cheap that you would recommend getting for a setup, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Thank you for checking it out. My name is Velocity, and I'm signing out. Peace.